Welcome to the TESS and LEADS updates prepared for you by the Office of Educator Effectiveness. These updates are available for educators as they prepare for the upcoming school year. We will be sharing changes to TESS and LEADS as a result of Act 1091 passed during the 2015 regular session of the Arkansas Legislature. In addition, we are glad to present you with the resources available and will continue to provide information on our activities for informing our future work in the Teacher Excellence and Support System and the Leader Excellence and Development System. Dylan William from the University of London said, "If we create a culture where every teacher believes they need to improve, not because they aren't good enough, but because they can be even better, there is no limit to what we can achieve." The Arkansas Department of Education, through the Office of Educator Effectiveness, continues to support the efforts of our school districts to ensure that every student has access to an effective educator who is influenced by a growth mindset. In an effort to attract and prepare the best potential candidates into the profession, the Office of Educator Effectiveness and the professional licensure units work systematically to promote multiple pathways to initial certification and licensure. We work continuously to ensure that we meet the needs of our districts across the state to fill critical shortage areas while at the same time elevating the status of the profession. We are committed to supporting and retaining our present educators through our induction and mentoring programs. Because educators never stop learning and improving, our state uses the Teacher Excellence and Support System and the Leader Excellence and Development System, known as TESS and LEADS, to evaluate and provide ongoing professional learning and career advancement. We have adopted the model introduced in the most recent national conference on educator effectiveness. We target these outcomes through current workflows. As we have worked together, we have become aware of the connections of what we do, from teacher recruitment to supporting leadership development. Our focus is working to support success, which reaches every student in Arkansas classrooms. Using an evidence-centered design, all stakeholders in the process of improving instructional implementation may see the results of targeted training and improved instructional implementation leading to student learning and growth. The connection between an evaluation system and an educator's professional development cannot be denied. Learning for improvement will only be seen if feedback from observations and artifacts are accurate and in correct context. If the purpose for educator learning is unclear, time is wasted for educators and those they impact in our schools. The responsibility for student growth means school systems must provide information for properly targeted professional development. Using TESS and LEADS with fidelity will facilitate this process. Act 1091 of 2015 was passed to update TESS and LEADS statute. Language of the statute was clarified, and references to professional learning plan are changed to professional growth plan, because a professional learning plan is the overall school district learning plan, and a professional growth plan is created to address the work of an individual educator. Not only is the professional growth plan a familiar term for Arkansas educators, but it is truly a process in action. Educators all across the state have been working together with their evaluators to set professional growth goals aligned to their evaluation ratings and data from student assessments. Professional growth plans are developed to identify and build an educator's strengths and areas for improvement. Half of the required hours should be based on the educator's PGP. One suggestion to meet this requirement is to have educators work in Bloomboard to create PGP goals. Answer details of the goals and list professional development in the Bloom list on the learner's homepage. Something that will be different this year is that new teachers and administrators should develop and refine their PGP during the first semester, after time has been given to self-assess and receive feedback from their evaluators' observations before targeting specific areas. PGP goals will then be enacted during the second semester. Novice teachers and beginning administrators may access mentoring modules through Moodle to facilitate this process. Act 1091 also allows a teacher in a virtual environment to be observed by the technology appropriate to the virtual environment. These teachers were previously required to use a 360 camera. Changes in digital learning laws and educational environments led to this change. Observers can now find the appropriate technology by asking, does the technology provide a fair and accurate depiction of teaching? Also for 2015-2016, superintendents must assure to the department that evaluators are trained and have passed the credentialing exam required under TESS. It is the district's responsibility to ensure that this requirement is met. All evaluators who conduct summative evaluations of teachers must be credentialed. ADE currently uses TeachScape proficiency assessment for this purpose. ADE provides accounts to newly hired administrators or administrators in new roles who have never had an account. Higher education prep programs are planning to embed this training and assessment into leadership preparation programs for future candidates. TESS evaluators must successfully complete module training and the proficiency assessment in TeachScape Focus for observers. New administrators will be given an account in TeachScape to complete this process. New teachers to the profession and their mentors will be provided with a Focus for Teachers account after being paired through Moodle. Districts may contact their local co-ops to find out more about getting access to accounts and trainings for teachers who are new to the state or who have been out of the profession within the last 2 years. In the future, new teachers and administrators coming out of an Institute of Higher Education in Arkansas will already be trained in the TESSandLEADS process. This information is posted on the ADE website at arkansahed.gov on the TESS for Administrators Law and Process training page. Act 1091 amends the number of years for required summative evaluations in Track 2A from every 3 to every 4 years. Novice probationary and intensive support tracks still require a yearly summative evaluation. Summative evaluations must be conducted at least once every 4 years. However, districts may conduct a summative evaluation more often. Previously, an informal observation was required, but Act 1091 reduces the obligation for informal observations during a summative evaluation year and makes them permissive. Also, Act 1091 repeals the use of external assessments in teacher evaluations as originally set out in the law. It replaces the old language with the method for assigning an annual overall rating that includes student growth as determined by the State Board of Education. This aligns with the ESEA requirements but leaves flexibility for the state to make changes within rules and regulations. An educator's annual overall rating will be based on professional practice and student growth. This rating will be entered into Bloomboard. During the summative years, all components are rated and each domain scored for a domain rating with an overall rating based on an average of domain ratings. During interim appraisal years, the evaluation is lesser in scope and the rating is based on components that align to the PGP based on teacher informal observations and administrator formative evaluations and feedback. Student growth will not be a part of an educator's final rating in 2015-2016. The ADE, in its renewal request, has asked for an extension in including student growth as a part of the rating until 2017-2018 school year. While state assessments will be used as a measure of student growth, the ADE is researching other measures to be included for student growth determinations. Following the update of the Teacher Excellence and Support System statute, rules will be updated and posted on the ADE website. Updates that have been shared will go into effect July 22, 2015. Currently, employed administrators and teachers must review this presentation of TESSandLEADS Law and Process updates, which will be posted on the ADE website. It will be found on both TESS and LEADS home pages. It is recommended that districts document the completion of this review for their local records. In addition to required update information, support training will be provided at all Arkansas Educational Service co-ops. Registration for co-op training is on the co-op website and escweb.net. Higher education teacher and leader preparation programs have embedded the framework for teaching into their curriculum. Educators are continually connected to the framework components or the ISLIC standards in leadership programs during their training and preparation. Institutes of Higher Education also train teachers on the elements of TESSandLEADS Law and Process using materials provided by ADE. Therefore, new teachers who are hired from approved teacher preparation programs and most of the current non-traditional programs will only need to participate in a TESSandLEADS update that districts can access from the ADE website. The ADE recommends that districts document all educators' participation in the update. Many co-ops will provide this training for new teachers as well. The Arkansas Bloomboard trainings that will be held this summer for administrators and teachers will work with educators on how to ask for targeted feedback, prepare for post-observation conversations, and advocate for your professional development. We will present what we have learned in other places where Bloomboard is in use and hear how teachers are already leading feedback conversations in their schools or districts. Please note that we have added a new feature to the TESS homepage with a TESS and LEADS resource handbook to guide educators through the evaluation process. This also includes a collection of files which have been previously posted on the ADE website. Our handbook is divided into 4 sections, representing the phases of work for TESS and LEADS each year. In addition, documents in each section are easily accessible due to links posted in the table of contents. Now taking a look at the TESS teacher track chart updated to include Act 1091. Track 1, teachers that are probationary and novice will continue to have a 3-year cycle. In addition, the requirement for a formal observation has not changed. An informal observation, which was previously required, is now permissive. Also, there is now an interim appraisal track, 2B3, that has been added. The addition of the 2B3 year will benefit the primary intent of TESS, which is to empower career classroom educators to focus on identified rubric components. Track placement for career teachers is a local decision allowing for the best fit to every faculty, while meeting the requirement of a summative evaluation year at least once every 4 years. This is the LEADS categories chart updated to include Act 1091. Probationary and novice categories will continue to have a 3-year cycle. Track placement for inquiry category is a local decision while meeting the requirement of a summative evaluation at least once every 4 years. Educators who are in the summative tracks 1, 2A, or 3 are required by law to use a role-specific framework and rubric, to develop a PGP in collaboration with their evaluator, and have one announced formal observation with a pre- and post-conference. TESS is an evidence-centered process. Evidence for TESS is gained through observation notes and artifacts. Artifacts should only be collected for rubric components that have not been observed by the evaluator. Additional artifacts may be collected in observed components if needed to strengthen proof of level of performance, but it is not required unless the evaluator or the district has determined further requirements for artifacts. Educators in a summative track are required to have an annual overall rating, including a rating for each domain and a summative rating for all domains. Educators who are in the non-summative tracks 2B1, 2B2, and now 2B3 will also use a TESS role-specific framework and rubric to develop a PGP with their evaluator. The number of goals, components, and artifacts collected are optional. A performance rating for each component from the PGP will be rated by the evaluator. Since the PGP year is rated on the lesser of the scope, this will become the calculated rating for the annual overall score. Administrators will provide ongoing support to these teachers as they work their way through the PGP process. Professional growth plans are still required for every educator to be developed between the learner and the observer. Goals should be set to identify areas of growth, and at least half of the professional development hours required for licensure should be directly related to one or more of the goals of the educator's PGP. The evaluator will make the final approval of the learner's PGP. This particular chart was designed to help educators understand the relationship between the Intensive Support Track and the Arkansas Fair Teacher Dismissal Act. No changes have been made to the Intensive Support Track in 2015. A teacher may be placed in an Intensive Support Track if he or she receives a performance rating that is unsatisfactory in any domain, or the district may opt to place a teacher in this track due to a basic or unsatisfactory in a majority of components in any one domain. Remember that it is important to discuss the situation with your superintendent before notifying the teacher in writing of the placement. An intensive growth plan must be developed to include clear goals and ensure necessary support. The types of assessment and support are determined by the district. Make sure you document and develop a time frame for the implementation of the growth plan, which may take up to 2 consecutive semesters, depending on what the district considers a reasonable time frame to complete the goal or goals. 2 additional consecutive semesters may be added if substantial progress is noted. Keep in mind to be fair and consistent to ensure accuracy. Our goal is to ensure that every student has access to an effective teacher by empowering educators to lead their own professional development in order to impact student success. Recently, ADE asked the Southern Regional Education Board to help facilitate focus groups around the state. The purpose of this project was to provide the Arkansas State Department of Education feedback on the implementation of its systems to evaluate the performance of teachers and principals. Through these focus groups, teachers, principals, and district administrators shared their experiences and perspectives of the evaluation system. SREB will summarize findings and implications from focus groups in a written report, and this will also be presented to the Arkansas State Board of Education in the summer of 2015. For questions or more information regarding this update, please contact the Office of Educator Effectiveness. I hope you found this presentation to be informative and helpful to your work. It is our goal to support and promote positive professional growth for all Arkansas educators.